Welcome to Level 2, Connecting Letters. Now that we have learned all the letters of the alphabet and we can recognize them when they are in single form, we are now going to be looking at the letters when we start to connect them. And as the instructions tell us, practicing what the letters will look like when they're connected will change. So sometimes the letter ba may look like this in the beginning, but it may look slightly different when it is in the middle of a word or when it is at the end of a word. Same thing with any of these letters. They may look a certain way when they are in the beginning, but they may look different when they are in the middle of a word or at the end of a word. So throughout these lessons, we are going to be familiarizing ourselves with how these letters will change and look when they are at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So we take our first set of letters here, ba, da, tha, nun, and ya, and these are the letters that are going to be addressed and used throughout this first chunk. And so we will just go right ahead and start connecting them. So ba and da together will look like ba, da. Nun and da together will look like this, nun, da. The way I recommend you have the student read this is simply read them as letters. So ba, da, tha, da, tha. You just want them to simply be able to recognize the letters and be able to say them out loud. So as you can see, when two letters are together, this is what these are the forms that they will take. I give a few more examples because ya really stands out. Ya looks like this when it is connected at the end, but ya looks like this when it is in the beginning of a word. So really take the time to recognize, hey, what's happening to this letter when it changes? When it's at the end, ya still retains a lot of that curve. But when it is in the beginning of a word, it completely loses this, but we can still recognize it because there's two dots under it, and so really take the time to recognize and learn what they'll look like when they are connected. So on this first page, we connected 2-letter words. Then we progress on to 3-letter words because we need to be able to see now, okay, what do they look like when they are in the middle? So now these are examples with 3-letter words, and then we're going to do the same thing here and walk through some 3-letter words, and then finally 4 letters. By the time you progress to this point, 4 letters will be very easy. We're just adding on another letter. The most difficult to recognize is beginning, middle, and end. Once you've got that, it doesn't matter how many letters you add on to the beginning or the end, it'll all be the same. There's only 3 forms that a letter can take. And after those letters, we will have a worksheet for those specific letters. So now you're going to go ahead and find ba in all of these sentences, in all of these words rather, and you're going to circle just the letter ba wherever you find them, ba, so that we make sure we actually recognize what each of them look like. And this will make you really focus on, let me look at the shape. Do I recognize ba? And it's in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, and so on and so forth. After that, I really wanted you guys to be able to focus on how many letters, so being able to recognize how many letters are in a word. And so you're going to go ahead and color each box below according to the amount of letters. So a 2-letter word like this one is going to be colored red. 3-letter word like this one will be blue. And green will be any 4-letter words, and we will shade in that box. So that is a worksheet for that. And now you get the hang of it. We're going to take the next set of letters, and I tried my best to group together like letters. Jim, ha, and ha all have a lot of similarities, and so to make sure that we clarify and observe all the letters that are similar to each other together would be very helpful. So we make sure we recognize them in all forms. So we're going to just do the same thing with Jim. We're going to start with 2-letter words, Jim, ha, and ha, in a lot of mixed words. And I want you to notice this right away. I know I mentioned this earlier before, but any time that we've learned something in the past, like nun, and yeah, we learned those in the last lesson, not in this one, the last one, I'm going to bring those up now because we have learned them previously. I want to keep them fresh in your mind. So I will continue to bring up any letters that we've learned in previous lessons. We will continue to progress and build up and continue to see those letters. And so this is 2-letter connections, this is 3-letter connections. Here we have a note because this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Many of my students struggle with this, especially at a younger age. Note that when ba, da, tha, nun, or ya comes before a jim, ha, or ha, their appearance can change. Both forms are interchangeably used in the Quran. For example, nun, jim, ba, it will come in both forms. So looking at this example here, we have a ba, jim, and a ba, and this is also a ba, jim, and ba, but here, this curve, this area right here is our ba, the dot for which is below this area. The jim is this entire area right here. So you can single out the jim very easily. Everything else is the ba. And so a lot of people struggle with that. Hey, what is this? It looks really funny. That is a ba. This also, fa. And that is the ha. So just really pay attention to that and become familiar with that, because you will see it in both forms in the Quran. And then finally, we have the 4 letters for the same thing. We'll have a worksheet again, same way, finding how many letters are in the word, and then we'll do the same thing with dal, dal, ra, za. Dal, dal, ra, za are pretty special. Just the only thing unique about dal, dal, ra, za is that you will only, they only connect on one side, really, guys. So dal can connect only on this side. So when you see it on the next page, dal, dal, ra, za, you will notice that they pretty much retain their shape on the other end. They can't, nothing can connect to it on this side. So in a word where it's in the middle, like this, you'll notice, ya, ra, dal, okay, it's only connecting on one side. So that's something unique about those letters. And sin, shin, the only thing I would recommend looking out for in this is the similarities that shin has with fa. And so I always tell my students, pay attention, look, shin has 2 waves or loops, if you will, whereas that is just 1, and it's straightforward. So that is something to look out for there. And this is pretty straightforward. And what I brought up here, now that we have a bunch of these letters, I wanted to make sure now that by now we're comfortable with recognizing 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words. I now wanted to switch it up and pay attention to letter recognition. So here we're going to circle different letters. We're going to take out our colored pencils and circle different letters according to the colors that are mentioned here. Sa, ba, ba, va. Nothing too confusing about them. The only thing that I would watch out for is ba and sod. Look at the difference when they connect. One has a line, one does not. Same thing with va and bod. The line, no line, so that's the only thing I would pay attention over there. And that would conclude this lesson, inshallah.